Well, my very first band in Spryfield was with Shane Hayden. But I don't know how Shane got involved with Shattered Image because I wasn't there yet. I was still out.
You were on the out still.
But the weird thing is, me and Dave and I, yeah, because I think I was playing with Angel Lambert, and I was playing with Bentley Burke, and but I think it's just a sequence of events that unfolded.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Just
Yeah.
fate, just that things came together. And I think it was Laura who kind of pulled everybody together. She was the common denominator because I didn't know you except David.
Well, I can tell you how Laura got back in touch with me. I was playing with a band called Jagged Edge.
I remember
and
that. I remember that name.
with Mike Larson, I forget his name now, the guitar player, and I was wearing sunglasses and a funky shirt, and she came out and she was like, she she was impressed with the band, and I think she liked the look I had or whatever. And then a few weeks later, I think I got a call or something from you, from her, from
all
you.
about the sunglasses, right?
Yeah, come and play. And but Pat's not that. I think Pat's not that fussy about having you back in the band. But I think I was on my good. I was kind of on a semi good behavior kind of.
It worked out. It worked out.
Yeah, I mean yeah, I think we put together a pretty good 15. It was a 15-week tour, right? Started in May.
Yeah.
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 There's one gig in New Brunswick somewhere, I remember.
Yeah, that's right. On our way to Quebec. That's right.
Yeah.
We stopped into New Brunswick.
Bathurst. It was in Bathurst.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had the old Bluebird bus,
The school bus.
and
School bus.
Daryl was driving it.
I was driving it. Daryl was driving it. The two of us drove that thing. Pat wouldn't drive it. I was going to kill him.
We were playing. I don't know if you guys remember this. We were in Maniwaki, Quebec,
Yeah.
and at some really really bad bar where we stayed in some crappy motel where the bar, we weren't playing the bar at the motel, we were playing some other bar, but the bar at the motel, we'd go there afterwards. They were open very late. We'd go there late, drink, and they had lady dancers there who were also the waitresses. So when it was their turn to dance, they had to put their drinks down. The conclusion of the story was some of us got in the bus one day. We had a day off. I'm not sure. It was myself, Laura, Daryl Johnson, who was our lighting tech and our bus driver. And I'm not sure. You guys can remind me who else went. We took the bus from Maniwaki and went to Ottawa to see Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet tour.
Yes.
Bought some scalper tickets. And it was, what an amazing time. 1980 Slippery When Wet. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, as that turned out, Daryl and I actually stayed behind, and you guys went.
Who drove the bus?
I think you guys. I don't know, but Daryl, I remember you guys didn't take a bus.
They stayed back with the dancers.
Oh, maybe. How did we get there?
I don't know, but I remember Daryl and I hanging out behind for a couple of days while you guys went off to Ottawa.
Wow.
I felt half bad about it and half I was being a bit of a tool that summer about going to study music and stuff. But
I remember that too. I mean,
what a great show! It was one of the high points of my life, was watching Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet. The year it came out, 1987. Scalper tickets, Ottawa. It was awesome.
you guys came back pretty high from that. I remember, really stoked about that show.
Yeah.
So where else did you guys go on this tour? How many weeks was it? Or months?
15.
15 weeks?
15 weeks. There was a
It was
couple. There was
New Brunswick.
three shows that weren't in Quebec. I remember that. The rest
Where
were.
were they?
Did anybody in the band speak French? Because I know those small towns are mostly French, right?
I remember learning the word verre d'eau, which is ice water. That's it. Verre d'eau.
I can say
Old water.
I can say a couple things. I can say New Somme Shattered Image.
So yeah.
Remember that
We are Shattered Image.
And Grand Thé
Remember,
avec lait avec sucre, which is Tim Hortons for my large tea with 2 milk and 2 sugar.
I remember Shane always had. Shane actually had a particular interest in the Quebec language. So I remember us being in a restaurant, and and he was teaching me so I could learn how to say soup du jour, because that's pretty much all I could afford was the soup and a bun.
Soup
But
and bun.
Shane also had a French girlfriend, which was a help.
Oh, yeah. That'll do it.
That was
It's
great.
still in
Eh?
Quebec. Yeah, great club in Quebec City.
Chez Dagobert was an unusual club because Marnie, upstairs the band played, and the place would be packed, and the band would play, no dancing, just watching the band, and they were so into it. And then on break, there was a downstairs club where the bar upstairs would empty, everybody would go downstairs, they would dance to music, and then when that ended, they would all rush back upstairs and watch the band again. Look, I found a picture here. This picture, can you see that?
That's in the restaurant.
That's the revolving restaurant in Quebec City.
Yeah.
But see the shirt I'm wearing? It's probably backwards, but
Spryfield.
No, it's not. It says Spryfield.
Spryfield.
And sunglasses. Yay!
Sunglasses. Yeah, that was Quebec City, the revolving restaurant in Quebec City.
Right on.
I have so much stuff, you know.
Oh, man. I lost so much stuff over the years. I lost all my pictures. I don't know. Maybe my ex-husband threw them out. I don't know.
I haven't moved that much. I came to Ontario when Shattered finally disbanded in August of '87. I stayed in Halifax for a couple of months, and I left. And me and Chris left for Toronto. I dropped him off in Montreal, and kept going to Toronto. What's that?
Thanks for that.
Yeah, I know. And
Learn French?
I came to Toronto, and I've only lived in 2 places since I've been to Toronto, you know. I'm in my second place right now. We've been in here for 22 years. I just don't move. So I have a lot of stuff, you know, which is great.
Yeah.
You know,
That's interesting. Seeing these videos pop up on that Facebook channel, I'm like, Jesus, where'd you get that?
yeah,
Where'd you get that?
I've got a few, but I dig for them, David. I talked with Laura and I said, you know, I'm going to reach out to Don if you don't mind, because I know Don always had the video camera. And Don said, yeah, I got a few things, not much, but that's where I got that rehearsal one from, which was so
that
cool.
rehearsal one was amazing.
I don't remember it, you know?
I have a good story, too, for Shattered Image.
Oh, perfect. Go for it.
Okay. So as we went through this tour with this blue bus, we had very little room for extra gear. And Patty would probably remember, and so Dave, that Laura and Dave, or Laura and Patty had bicycles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the story. Go ahead.
You can fill in the blanks because Chris's phone is cutting out. So.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
So, anyways, it's just a cute little story just about their bikes. They never drove them on the road, actually. So I remember we were driving down the road somewhere in Quebec, and there was some guy yelling at us about, you know, we're going 60 miles an hour. Remember this, Dave?
I do now. I'm sorry. Yeah.
We hated bikes. We hated their mountain bikes or whatever they had, because it was the last thing to go on the bus. Like, man, why do we take these with us? We don't have the room to do this. And they're not even driving them. So it's like, what's going on? So anyways, we just used to laugh at bikes. And so they had them hooked on the back. So while we were driving down the road, apparently the bikes came off the rack and it was dragging like at least
Dragging. They were
6 feet behind the bus. And so some guy was pointing to us as we were, Daryl was driving the bus and saying, you know, hey, something's going on. And so we pulled over and those bikes were like dragging because they came off the hook. And we were laughing our asses off, right?
Laura found that bus somewhere. She came to me all excited one day about this bus she found that had a for sale sign on it, and she said it would be perfect for the band. And I said, oh my God. So we went and I think she liked it because it was blue. We went and looked at it, and man, that thing was a lot of work, tearing all the seats out of it for the gear. And Man,
That was a lot of work to drive. When you were driving that bus, the steering was manual, I
well,
suppose.
I drove it once. Daryl let me drive once. I made him let me drive it. We left Ken Dwyer's, and he pulled over, and I got behind the wheel on Purcell's Cove Road. And you're right, David. It was like this. It was all over the road, and
It's manual steering.
oh, Daryl said, "Pull this thing over right now," and he took the wheel from me. I don't think I ever drove it again, and I owned the damn bus, but I wasn't allowed to
I
drive.
know. That annoyed me. That Pat would never drive the bus. Only
Wasn't allowed. He wouldn't let me. You know?
Okay, so one thing I'm going to add too before Marnie,
Yes.
all the wonderful things you did for us in our dressing room.
Good Lord, that sounds terrible.
No, but I mean,
It does. It
I know.
does. Doesn't
I
it?
got
It really
did that.
does. Go easy, guys.
No, but I mean, with our hair and helping
I
us.
just think that was like one night at the Crazy Horse. I don't think it was all the time. You just remember that it was all the time.
Seemed like it, yeah. It's it's like back then it was like eyeliner on the bottom of the lip, eyelid, and so. But thank you.
Was there like did much music or Q104 or something have something going on one night when you guys were at the Crazy Horse?
They were doing Much Music was doing a video when we were opening for the box.
Mm.
We were opening for the box, and they were doing some stuff there, and I think that was the week.
Yeah,
But
that was the Crazy Horse, right?
that was the Crazy Horse, yes.
Yeah, I think that's what it was all about. You guys were like, ah!
Yeah. But Marnie, you go back before these guys. Well, not before David, but before Chris. You go back to Shattered Image, like the 1.0 with Ron. You know, Bruce had Gary. Ron had to have Laura. It was that was the way it was. And you were there from the very start,
Oh,
right?
Gary Gillespie, that's true. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And the little brother gets the little sister. That's right.
Yeah, that was Bruce.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's how we got to the agency, right?
Yeah, Ron was trying to prove a point here. And, you know, they're both brilliant singers, obviously. I don't know if any of you guys have heard Gary's band from Vancouver. They're called Faith and Desire.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff.
Broken Toy. Was there a Broken Toys?
What's that?
Was there a Broken Toys with Gary Gillespie out in Vancouver?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I remember.
They took it across the country, right?
Yeah, but when they finally split up out west and Sean came back and joined up with Haywire, Gary started this band called Faith and Desire in Vancouver, all original, and it's just brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah, he's an amazing singer for sure.
Yeah. And a front person.
So Bruce had Gary and Ron had Laura, and Ron tried his best with us. And Marnie, you were there for the whole trip. So
I was there for that because I remember Ron was like, "We got to push this," and he didn't ever really tell me why. He just said, "No, this is really important."
Yeah, that was
now I know why.
It was a competition. So
Ron did all the graphic
competing
design.
with his big brother.
Yeah.
Ron was the graphic designer as well, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't played guitar in years. I'd never played guitar. And even in the last band I was in this Garth Brooks tribute band, I played guitar in one song because, you know, I still can play some chords, right? So they let me do one song. That was about it, though. So.
Chris, you bought a set of drums recently? Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Go ahead.
Chris, you recently bought a set of drums?
I did, yeah, but
you didn't send them back, did you?
What's that?
You didn't send. You say you retired, but you didn't send them back, did you?
I just like to look at stuff. I collect stuff. I have a keyboard here, and I have drums, and I just don't really play them live. So.
Oh, that's cool. But you still play.
No, he's as musical as ever.
I assume you still play.
I'm the keyboard player in the band, right? And every time Chris would come to my house, my mother would make him sit at the piano and play songs for her because she's such a great piano player. And she never asked me to play piano, but every time Chris walked in the house, "Oh, Chris, you gotta sit down and play the piano for me," because we always had a piano in the house.
Yeah.
And it was always Chris, never Pat.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I knew like 6 really good songs. Right. So
What were they? Do you know? Do you remember?
mostly ragtime stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all the ragtime stuff. Stuff that.
That'll do it. My mom used to like ragtime.
Oh yeah,
I
love
never
that.
knew you were a keyboard player until like you started putting some of your original stuff out on online a couple of years ago. I'm like, wow, Chris is fucking can play.
Well, that would come from your dad, Chris, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh,
Did
you played at my house all the time. I knew he played.
would you have actually studied with your father, or did you just listen to him and try to mimic him? How did you learn? Because I mean, you sound really good when you do stuff. So
No, uh, Dad taught me a little bit, but I was.
Yeah, but you know what? Chris has proved to me is there's some genetics involved here. You know, for sure.
You just sort of have it.
He has it. He has it. He's so good, Marnie. He's like his dad. He's so talented. Drums and piano. And if you see the video of Shatter doing "Leaving Me Now" with Chris singing, my God,
he's a great singer.
it's
You guys are
beautiful.
gonna make me cry.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You know.
It's so nice, though. You know, so nice to know that you have that from your dad.
I don't know why all this is coming upon me right now, but
Because we love you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate it. But I always learn from all you guys. So that's.
Where'd you go, Pat?
I'm
You went
here.
away, and now you're back.
My phone fell down. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. I'm telling you.
On my
The coolest thing about this whole thing is, I mean, we've known each other, all of us here, and all 4 of us for over 20 years or more,
Oh.
right?
Over 30,
Over
Chris.
30.
35.
35-ish. Yeah.
And with this, with Sean and Dave, that they're really, evoking a lot of feelings, a lot of visions, and so that's really good, right? So, and without that site, I don't think we would be talking right now.
Wow.
All of
Yeah, and to that point, that's a very powerful group. That the documenting what you could easily just let slip out of your mind. Okay, that was just something I did, but it's kind of bringing to life that those times were important.
Yeah.
It's
No,
making me realize that it was those rehearsals, those gigs, those meetings with the agents, all that stuff was important. We played a part. We played a role in what was happening, and we've all done it in different bands and in different places in Canada and so on. But that stuff that's been important to people. Walking into a bar, getting entertainment from musicians. I think it was my first tour of duty with Shattered Image when we opened up the Crazy Horse.
Yeah, we did.
And the first in the setup, the building, everything still hadn't been finished, and we blew the tweeters out of the speakers. They had to fly they had to have them sent from Montreal the next day, so the first night was canceled. And I had a fight in the staircase with Rick O'Grady, who was the manager, who later became the agent, Eastern Talent International. He was an agent for a band I had after university. But we fought on the staircase. You opened this fucking bar too soon, and it shouldn't have been open. And you put it on my.
It's funny because my first, I guess, first professional gig was with a band called Equus, and it was at a dance at Kennard Junior High School where we saw Titan play, which was my old junior high school, and Gary Gillette was in that band with me. Kind of hanging around and turned into a singer, and me and Gary went our separate ways. I went off with other bands, and then me and Laura reconnected, and she was a phenomenal singer, and she was in a band with David, and they were looking to do something else, and I was in between things, and it just kind of came together. It was timing, all timing. It was the perfect storm for us,
The Laura thing, I guess we cultivated each other because we ended up in a band in high school, and I remember being in her living room, and Gary would be getting ready for a gig. I didn't even know Gary, but he was because he was older. But I could see what was going on, and then he would have cassette tapes of their live shows with Broken Toys. I don't know which version, and we would listen to that stuff all the time.
That would have been, yeah, that would have been Click at the time.
Yeah. And we were, so Laura and I were very influenced by her brother. And then as high school was sort of fading, I somehow, Pat, you got talking to Laura, and then I kind of felt like, oh, I didn't know if I was in or out of this thing, but suddenly it was three of us. And it was, I was the lucky one to meet up with Laura in high school. And we had a band that did the St. Pat's coffee house competitions, the QEH Battle of the Bands. So we did probably 10 gigs in the course of about a year, and that evolved into Shattered Image. Yeah. And then a year into Shattered Image, I walked out the door without much notice, and probably made enemies quite quickly there. And then I went off and did my, just being the kind of guy I was, not thinking really. And then
we all had times like that, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I went to see the band again later on when Steve was playing.
He came back to the fold.
I came back. And
David opened it.
Kind of nice.
He opened it, closed it.
Yeah, in a way, it was kind of nice to come back to be part of the beginning and the ending.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's
a nice memory.
Yeah, and when you look back at it, you realize how important it all was.
Yeah,
it was so important. It was so important, guys.
Yeah, to be especially when you're just starting to be inspired. So I think, I don't know, Patty was with me at the time as we were sitting in Tim Hortons, and Gary Gillespie was ready to go to perform, and I think he had some of his fit on, and I was so young, and I looked at him like, oh my God, this guy plays for Broken Toys.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just sitting there with coffee, and so we went down to watch them play, and I think they had the big mesh net up in front of the stage, or I don't know if that was them, Broken Toys, or it was Creed, but they had anyways, the performance that I saw completely changed my life. When I broke his play with Sean Kilbride, Steve McCall, Gary Gillespie,
Dale Rasmussen.
Yeah, and so that changed my life.
And Boswell. Boswell was there too.
John Boswell.
John Boswell.
Yep.
Yeah, and I did have the opportunity to play with John Boswell, Ron Hustis. But John just wanted to play the Doors stuff. And so,
he was a great bass player, though.
Fabulous. And so we rehearsed for a gig.
He had the harmony.
It's like a one-time only kind of gig. And so myself and Eustace and John Boswell, and I can't remember what else was on the band. We played at Lawrence of Arabia. And I think both Ronnie and I both knew that the set was really kind of bogus, right? And but John was a fabulous bass player, and so.
You're talking about Gary Gillespie. What I remember about Gary is kind of like a Dave Roberts. It was his persona. He just had so much amazing stage, like a great stage presence.
Yeah.
Amazing energy. And I think that was part of, I mean, obviously a great voice, but he just really had that, like,
he knew how to work.
Front man thing going on.
He was a front man for sure.
watching the old Titan stuff. I mean, I with David for in 3 bands, right? With the
Yep.
Fire Rooster and Flakes and Blueberry Grunt. So I mean, that's probably about almost up to 10 years, I think, in between.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
So Dave has never actually really changed too much at all. Performing with he's an amazing singer, amazing performer, and and so I think all of it, from it's not just Titan, but I mean it's for me personally. I mean, to have played in 3 bands with Dave Roberts, I mean, what more can you ask for the Maritimes? For working with a really great singer that can, he can take a John Prine song, turn any song, great rock song, right?
Yeah.
We went from Fire Rooster right into when the Celtic took off, and so man, it's like to have Dave Roberts singing Celtic stuff, whether it's Farewell to Scotia, but when Dave Roberts sang, every time we performed, Dave gave 200%, if not more. And so the cool thing was performing with Dave Roberts is that as a stand, because I used to stand up and play drums with Blueberry Grunt, and I sing a lot of backup vocals, and Dave liked my voice a lot, right? So, and the harder he sang, the harder I sang, the harder I play, the harder Dave would play. Just turned into this, and that was like rock and rolling, like holy God, it's like, and he had to be there to see it. But that's the whole thing too. When you're on stage with certain people, if you're on stage with Dave Roberts, it's going to be all or nothing, man. You can't hold anything back. So it was a different vibe for me when I got with him, and it taught me a hell of a lot. I
was at the I think it was 2002, 2003. You got to remember Dave Roberts, who I don't know, Chris, you know him because you worked with him, you know him very well. I've never met the man. He was like a demigod to us growing up. And I was a full-on, a full-ass, grown-ass man in Nova Scotia. I brought my son home to the World Juniors when they were in Halifax in 2002, 2003. Okay, so we're at the World Juniors. We bought the package, came home for Christmas, went to every game. As you all know, Dave Roberts is a big hockey guy. We're at the game, me and my son, and we're out in the lobby where the Stanley Cup is set up, and I see Dave Roberts there, and he's got his little guy with him, right? I wouldn't go up and talk to him. I was like frightened. I'm a grown-ass man, So I never did go up and talk to him. I want to go and say, "Oh my God, I'm not worthy." And I to this day I didn't go
so
talk to
him.
I was in my 40s, for God's sake.
Yeah, I think we talked about this. Like 6 months ago or something. So you've never actually met Dave Roberts?
Never met him. I had the opportunity, and I was a chicken. And I was a grown-ass man. I wouldn't do it.
Brian, I will set up a meeting with you for the next time you come down to Halifax, like I told you before, to meet up with Dave Roberts. How's that?
I won't be able to speak, though.
Yeah. Tongue-tied. You're not. Yeah, Pat. You're not one to be tongue-tied. Don't worry about it.
With Dave Roberts, I am my childhood idol. Not even Dave. The band was.
I'm getting a beer. Back inside.
Oops. Okay, I was just. I'll wait for you to come back, Marty. It's time to get the day going here in Tokyo. So I'm gonna step out of this meeting, which is.
Oh no.
Very enjoyable.
What time is it there?
It's 9:50 in the morning, Saturday morning.
It's Saturday. Are you working Saturday?
I'm not working, but I've been doing Zoom sessions for, I did 5, 10 100-minute classes this week. Plus, last night I did a podcast, and then I joined a party at the end of it. So I've been doing Zoom for
Yeah.
the best part of the week. I'm sure my wife is outside waiting for me to go do something for the day.
There you go.
Well, thanks for joining us.
I wasn't expecting this. Pat and I were trying to hook up for the last few weekends just to have a conversation.
Yeah,
Which
this came up, and he said, "Can I join?" I said, "Yeah, if you can figure it out." And I sent him your link, Marnie, and through that, David figured it out, and I can figure it out. So
yeah, we luckily had a chance to talk, and we had a chance to get together with all you guys.
it's nice. It's really nice. It's really nice.
Well,
Yeah,
we can do this again sometime, I hope.
Yeah, well, this community, the community is one thing to keep people, closer together, which is really nice. Hey,
Yeah.
that's a box tune, right?
Well said, Dave.
Together.
Yeah. And the technology helps. So
Hey, wait, before you leave,
Yeah.
am I wrong on this? When we were playing at the Crazy Horse,
Yeah.
and rehearsing a box song, did not the band, the Box, walk in while we were playing a box song?
That is, I believe, correct.
no, you know what? You know what it was, guys. I'll clear it up. It wasn't the band. It was the crew that came in,
Okay.
and then they came to us afterwards and said, "Do not play that song for the rest of the week." They didn't want us to play it.
Yeah.
We dropped it from that list, which was common. The bands didn't want you covering their songs on the nights they were playing, but they came and asked us not to play "Come Together."
Yeah. That kind of makes sense in a way, but
Yeah.
that sounds.
Some of it does, but I still remember one of the members of the band came up and they actually watched us play the song.
It may have been the crew was there, maybe some of the band, but
Yeah, and they liked the way we did the song and a certain chord, and do you guys remember that they liked the way that we ended the song?
I don't remember that. No.
No.
I kind of vaguely remember people, somebody talking to us about it. I think the keyboard player hung around a lot. I thought that week. I remember talking to him a lot.
He was the keyboard player is the singer's brother.
Okay, yeah, and he was the guy with the business degree, and I remember talking to him, how long do you think this will last? And he goes, I'm not too worried. I've got a backup and all this stuff. But
and he was the songwriter as well. So
just to tie this up, speaking of the box, a few years ago on a Facebook post, the singer, what's his name?
John
Mark.
Luke.
Yeah, he was
John Mark. John
Yeah,
Mark.
so he's still active, and there was something that he was posted about, and it made sense for me to comment. And I commented that we played together at the Crazy Horse and that we opened for you guys, and he remembered it.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Remember they used to send us back a 24 of beer every night too, because we didn't have a rider at the end of it.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And you know what? The other thing about the box, which always impressed me, is they were at that bar every day rehearsing. Every day.
They were, weren't they? Yeah.
That's right. The sound man had them in every day.
Every day.
And I actually asked about that. Not that I knew about it, but about sound and stuff too much. But he said, yeah, everything changes. The barometrics, the temperature, he was really
He was very technical. Like he was like a member of the band. He had them in there every day rehearsing in the full PA.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a lot of
They were brilliant. They were brilliant. One of the best sounding bands I've ever heard live in a bar.
From Montreal, weren't they?
Yeah.
Montreal. Yeah.
You're right about that.
Still there touring. Still together, still touring.
Okay, David, go. Your wife's
Thank you.
waiting.
Great to see you guys.
All right, David. We'll talk soon.
All right, post it.
And now I remember why Patty and I got to be good friends, like delivering pizzas, is because he was better talking about anything than I was.
That's okay. I understand that too.
Yeah.
No, Pat's very stellar at he was a great leader for the band, Shattered Image, and you know,
Good
it's just
spokesman, yes.
yes, and so it's better for no. Oh, that's and I can say that now. I'm 54 years old. God, you know, I worked for.
And you know what? The you know what I call Shattered Image 3.0 was the last version. There's 5 of us, and all 5 are still, you know, friends today, you know, on Facebook, and we all talk. You know, David was here tonight. Chris is here. I'm here. We speak to Laura. Shane, I don't speak to a lot, but you know, we're still friends. We're friends on Facebook. We're
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
even some of the other guys. You know, I'm friends with Zach on Facebook, and some of the Mother Sphere people who were involved in the band at the time, and I just don't know where the Hudson boys are. Now, Bruce, we didn't know because he kept away from us where, you know, Ron was always around, but I don't know where Ron is, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
And we knew his wife. His wife is Marlene, right?
Yeah.
And we knew her really well, and, you know, sweetheart, you know, but
Yeah.
don't know where they are. So,
No,
and he would love this. He would love this.
you
You know?
would think so.
I think.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? So. Oh well. So,
I don't know if you know that I ran into Laura in Ontario when I moved there.
what year was that?
It would have been 1989, I think. She was doing a karaoke gig at a bar in Mississauga.
Yeah, we lost touch after '87 for a lot of years. So, and now her brother, now Gary's here in Ontario now in Owen Sound, and he has a pretty young daughter.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, Charlie. Charlie's I have to ask Brenda. Brenda might know better than I would, but Charlie's probably 8, 9 years old. So he's got a youngster.
Crazy.
Maybe a little older. So we don't talk a lot, but I talk now. Dale Lynch, you don't know, right?
No.
And
I'm
mentioned
familiar, but no.
Yeah, and he was from day one. He was Click and Broken Toys sound man. He's a Spryfielder. We went to school together. And
I might have, you know, this is the thing is names will come up and I'll go, geez,
exactly. And that's what Dale said. I said,
you
you know, Marnie. He says, no, I don't really remember because Broken Toys were always gone. Bruce sent them out west, and they were gone for a long time. So, but I've known Dale since we were kids, and he lives in Hamilton now, very close to us. So him and his wife were very close. We see each other a lot. We talk all the time. We see each other all the time. But he's currently Michael Bublé's tour manager. So he's
Steve Hennessy's been working with
Steve. Yeah. Steve works for Bublé. Yeah, he works for the same company that would hire people out. So yeah, this is first. Dale didn't know Steve before this tour because Dale's been Diana Krall's tour manager, Nora Jones, Billy Talent, a lot of people. So on the Bublé tour, I said, "Did you meet Steve Hennessy?" He said, "Yeah. We kind of met up. He's from Montreal." I said, "Yeah, but he spent a lot of time in Nova Scotia."
Mhm.
So really, so they've kind of gotten to know each other a little bit. So yeah, so.
Chris, that looks like Bandhouse food.
God,
What's he?
see
Is it
that?
bologna?
How can you see?
I saw you come in with it. It's bologna. It's got 2 bites out of it, dude.
Oh my God, I can't believe you saw this. Like, what the hell?
He was telling my wife before this that he was going to get a bologna sandwich. So
I haven't bought bologna like for like a year, and it's like I can't believe you can see this. It's like
I didn't see it.
apparently I gotta change this. The screen is way too